Alright everyone, we've got some positive news here that you won't hear about much from the lamestream media. You won't hear about it because, look, positive news doesn't sell as well, and also they don't want to project that Trump has ever done anything right in his life. They want to pretend he's a one-dimensional villain. They can't break free of either of those constraints. They're literally shackled, which is really funny because they think that they're the ones doing all the damage. They're damaging themselves primarily. You see with this Papadopoulos story, which, by the way, I'm not even going to bother covering in a separate video. You look today, they're like, oh, the Papadopoulos memo. Trump nodded in approval when he talked about Papadopoulos being a Kremlin intermediary. It's like, okay. Did he command Papadopoulos to break any laws? No. Who fucking cares? And then Sessions, they mention him. It's like, well, Sessions was happy about the idea. Look, this Papadopoulos memo may not even be true. It might be directly countermanded. It might be like with Cohen's lawyer coming out saying, oh yeah, my client has dirt for the FBI, and then the next day he's like, no, he doesn't have anything. Or his claims about Trump Tower that now have been discredited by Cohen's lawyer himself. He's like, no. This was a blatant lie. Yeah, sorry about that, CNN. Months later, he finally said. A month later, he finally says, no. Actually, you know what? He didn't have prior knowledge about the Trump Tower meeting. It was bullshit. The media reported on it at the time as though it was true and verifiable. How do I know this isn't going to be the same case? I think there's a good chance that it is, because I think Papadopoulos may be playing a role too, just like all of these other people, like the Omarosas. Now, we got to talk about consumer confidence and GDP, however. Economic growth, first and foremost, for the second quarter was at 4.1%, which is, historically speaking, pretty high compared to the last 10 years of economics. It's been a while since the recession. Obama, of course, said, well, sub 2% growth is the new norm. Just get used to it, fuckers. And then it's been revised upward. It wasn't 4.1, it's 4.2. So a little bit better than expected. They're expecting the possibility of it being up near 5% for the third quarter. That would blow away most economic markers. That'd be far ahead. Like you remember, Krugman, when he was first elected, swore up and down, 3+% economic growth is not possible. It's especially with Trump. He's going to start a Great Depression. Where's that depression, Paul? I don't see it. All leading economists said that he would fail on the economy. So once again, the handful of us who said, no, he's going to be a money president, he's probably going to do well. He's Donald Trump of all fucking things. As long as he can pass tax cuts and start deregulating, the economy will surge ahead. Who was right again? That small sliver of the analytical population that didn't immediately count Trump out. Oh, we were right again, just like during the election? Who would have possibly thought? Next, we have consumer confidence. Consumer confidence is now at an 18-year high. That is, you have to go back to a bit before the dot-com bubble burst when everyone's still high off sniffing their own farts for half of the 1990s because everything was perfect. And they just wanted to play with Pokemon and read Harry Potter and shit like that. And they couldn't be, the Cold War is over and let's buy all the Chia Pets and Taco Bell that we can. And I want to get a new Dell computer. Dude, you're getting a Dell. Those old boxes with the cow patterns on, very funny. I always thought that they looked a little bit like black clouds against a white sky, too. Didn't look so much like a cow. They should have painted a little face on one of the sides of the boxes. Then it would have looked like an early version of Minecraft. No, that's the last time consumer confidence was this high. Consumer confidence was high in the late 90s. Very, very high, as in people were being like they were high in their spending habits and running up debt. And they're like, well, it's okay because the orgy of new money and of wealth is never going to end. And so it was a little bit ominous. Yeah, some people are reading into this when they look at the economic markers. Oh God, the sky is going to be falling soon. Things are going too well. And that's catastrophism writ large on an economic scale. I don't necessarily believe in that because there have been periods of time before where we'll have 5 to 10 years of almost uninterrupted fun growth. And then, maybe get a downturn, stagnation or something, or even a recession or whatever. But there's no indicator as far as I know. If economists were capable of telling you, yes, indeed, the end is nigh in the next few months, they would be a lot richer than they are now. We would never have a recession. They would take countermeasures preemptively. They would have designed a system so that the economy would never have a downturn. That'll never happen, though, because they can't predict. They don't know everything in the world. Believe it or not, just because someone is a leading economist doesn't mean that they're always right. In fact, half the time they're completely wrong. Like Krugman declaring that we would have another Great Depression. I think, Wasn't it Richard Spencer when I was talking to him, I think the first time that I went on his podcast? I think that was, I don't even think, Trump hadn't been in office very long. And I think he said that within a couple of years there'd be a massive economic downturn. And I said, no, I don't think so. I think things will get better before they get worse. I think we're coming up on that marker at the end of this year. I guess, again, who was right. The idea that the deep state will collapse the economy to oust Trump, not necessarily true. I mean, it's possible. But it looks like his mass deregulation and tax cuts have already prevented them from being able to ably do so. I think they're more likely to try to start a war at this point than to fuck the economy. If that happens, he might gain more approval. I can't wait to talk about this stupid ABC poll. Oh, Trump's approval is in a tailspin. It's his worst mark yet. Everyone disapproves of him and loves Mueller. Yeah, again, never trust a single poll, especially if it happens to be ABC or CNN. Or Rasmussen. Now, a lot of people are undeservedly trusting them in an election where high turnout is not going to make their landline polling efficient. No, you shouldn't be listening. You should look at the aggregate. The aggregate is presumably right. Yes, that includes even polling firms you individually don't trust that much. But with consumer confidence and GDP growth both very high, this is definitely helping to buff up Trump's support. Because everyone's like, well, the economy will collapse. It's his fault. If you elect him, it's your fault too. And then the economy is going along, like unemployment at an all-time lows in certain demographics at very low levels across the board. GDP growth is up. We're at peace at the moment. We're not in any major wars, although we've still got those silent wars going on. I still want Trump to bring the drones home. You know, you got to put them out. You got to have drones have to have a happy life too. Put them out in a pasture somewhere so they can bullseye the cows with their missiles. That's what we really need. I think I'd have even more confidence if that were the case. But yes, having Trump as the president, personally, in an anecdotal sense, for me, gives me more confidence about the economy than when Obama was in there. Like, part of it is coincidental because, you know, Trump takes office, my income has begun to rise to where it is today. Whereas before, it was less, certainly. You know, the end of Obama's term, basically, I'm surviving on my book sales and stuff. Now there's other forms of income. But no, I would have felt more confident anyway. Looking at the tax burden and how it has shrunk considerably, the only thing that remains, I think Trump should eliminate the self-employment tax for sole proprietors who are making under a certain amount of money, like $100K or something, and then graduate it. I think he should invert it, because right now I think it's, you have to start making $100K for that to begin graduating away, because your overall tax burden is higher. They do phase it out once you start making enough money. It should work in the opposite manner to encourage people to become small businesses and sole proprietors. That's what you really want. That way people could be self-employed and innovative. You know, they're down on their luck. Maybe they turn their Instagramming into a full-time job or something. Some people might have a problem with that, but that's sort of the wave of the future. A lot of people work in that sense. I don't see any problem with it whatsoever. I think it would massively increase our economy. By the way, India just topped out above 8% growth. Like, India has officially supplanted China by far in growth. China, I think, is down around 5 or 6. Like, we might overtake them soon, too. India is the future of Asia, the Asian economy over the next 50 years. They're going to supplant China, I think. There'll be a more stable long-term investment. Modi is really helping things there. He's stabilizing the country. And then some degree of modernization is taking place. Yes, their economic muscles will continue to grow. They'll stay a top 5 economy. They'll probably move up another couple slots in the next decade. And it'll be good times for India too. Like, they'll eventually do what China's doing and have an expansive middle class and become post-industrial, at least in parts. But they're more consumer friendly and more stable at this point than China, and more willing to work with economies in the West that like to buy stuff from Asia. So it just sort of makes sense. That's about all. Peace out.